Hey everyone, this is Nitro. Welcome to the Langrisser Thicc Fies update featuring Emilia front and center with some teasing as well from Prime Jessica. So, in this video, I am going to be talking about the latest update to Langrisser Mobile, which is the January 16th update. And of course, there is the two new heroes I just mentioned, Emilia and young Jessica. So I'm going to jump into the game and talk about the update details. Most of the update details have already been announced in the patch notes, which are written in the game. So you can also review them or just view my video. So just going to have to sign in first before I get started with this video. And the very first thing I will cover is going to be the events. Right? Because the events are probably what matters the most to people, and we can see right here that there are a lot of new events. Okay, first of all, there is this happy anniversary event where every day you log in, you can claim rewards, and there's 14 days of logins for rewards to claim. Now, this event runs from the 16th all the way to February 5th. So it's running longer than 2 weeks, right? There's only 14 things that you need to claim, but it actually runs 3 weeks. So you get some extra time to claim them. You don't have to log in every single day, right? 14 days out of 21. Next then is, of course, I'll talk about the Echoes of Light with, of course, the skins for young Jessica and Emilia, and the Maiden of Glory banner with young Jessica and Emilia, which I will be summoning on shortly. Other than that, there's also 3 more events. Constellation of Voyages. This one is, I guess, a cheap, supposedly cheap, if you will, event for a new hero, or 60 shards of the hero, right? And this goodie wish bag, if you will, it's going to be randomly obtained one of the 3 heroes. So there's 5 goodie bags. You don't know which hero you're going to get out of each one. But it could be, for example, for the protagonist one, it could be Sigma, Lambda, or Landius, right? Ultimuller, Illustrial, or Lanford. Claret, Yulia, or Shafaniel. This one is very nice in my opinion. I could actually use 60 shards of all 3 of these heroes, so I'm very tempted. Mythical Realm has Gizaroth, Juggler, and Bernhard. And finally, the Meteor Bag has Zerida, Diharto, and Omega. So, on the whole, I think most of these have at least one useless character in one way or another, right? For example, most people would have a 6-star Ultimuller or whatever. I think overall the best one, the one that most people are most likely not to have finished, would be the Claret, Yulia, Shafaniel one. But everyone's different, you know. Depends. So, the cost for this one, though, is $20. So, $20 for a new hero. Whether it's worth it, kind of hard to say. Alright, I'm going to claim the first day rewards. So, actually, I should also mention, for the 14-day reward claiming, it has a whole bunch of nice items, right? Runestones, you know, epic, like, SSR, Bursting Heart Keys, these Mastery Stones, 50 skin vouchers, you know, rare enchant, blah 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 blah. Just a whole bunch of nice materials to claim. So I'm just gonna grab that. So the next one, the one that is very tempting to me, is the Swordsmiths Are Coming, the Anniversary Equipment Goodie Bag. So, unlike Constellation of Voyages, the Swordsmiths Are Coming is actually, you get to choose which SSR item you want. Okay, any SSR, a weapon, armor, headgear, or accessory. Generally speaking, I would say if you decide to spend the $20 on the Swordsmiths Are Coming, the best items to get for sure are the accessories, right? All the other items are basically farmable. Weapons, armors, and headgear, you can technically farm for them by doing dragon runs. Accessories is the only thing that's not farmable, so if there's an accessory you definitely need, you may consider paying $20 for it. You know, if I were to put money into that, which I probably won't, but if I were, you know, I would probably pick one of the boots. Whether it's the Apex boots or Divine boots or Spirit boots, may be hard to choose from. I would probably choose the Apex boots in my case, or maybe choose a Swordsmith medal. You know, those things are always nice too. But the fact that you can pick any SSR item you want may be worth considering. But once again, $20, up to you whether you do it. So, very much trying to tempt you into putting money into the game. And of course, the final event, running for 2 weeks, from the 16th to the 29th, is the Legendary Gate, where we're increasing the Gate of Fate runs from 9 to 18. So that's a very, very good thing as always, right? You can use it to clear out the Gate of Fate of characters you have not yet done. Like, in my case, it would be, let's say, Illustrial, Betty, and maybe the new heroes when I draw for them shortly. Or you can just, you know, start farming up characters up to 6 stars, right? So, 14 days times 3, if you calculate that out, is basically 42 shards of the characters that you choose to farm, right? Of course, there's characters who can farm 4 shards, and then 14 times 4 would be 56 shards of a hero. So, for example, I could finish off or get very close to finishing Bozil, as an example. Right? The other characters will be just continuing to farm them up, but we'll see how that goes. So with the events covered, let's talk about the main update features. First of all, the level cap is now level 66 for your heroes. So start leveling them all up because you're going to want those extra levels. So I'm going to have to start leveling up all my heroes, which is going to be pretty time consuming, but it's well worth it. Next then, we do have some new World Event Chapter stories. We can see here, second prologue, endings and beginnings 1. So the event is, well, I guess, the story continues. After the conclusion of the Bozil event, there will now be an event coming up in Niles. So there's the prologue to start that. And when you finish endings and beginnings, you'll presumably be able to travel to Niles, right? By clicking on the button in the bottom left. This feature will unlock after the main storyline chapter, Endings and Beginnings, is completed. Well, VI. Okay, so I'll have to start working on those too. Jeez, so much PvE content to do, and so little time to do it. Okay, after that, in the Time Rift, supposedly the Langrisser 4 prequel is now available. It is not available for me. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it's because it hasn't actually been released yet or because I have to finish this one first. Right? The Langrisser 3 final chapter before I get access to this one. So I am definitely behind in my Time Rift. You know what? Slowly but steadily, I'll get through it. That's pretty much what it is. So there is that new chapter coming up though. I don't have enough time to do all of that stuff, so I will slowly catch up. But yeah, I was just trying to see if these items are available yet, but it says not available right now. So unfortunately, it's still not up. Okay, so in the bonds page, this is a minor feature, but although it could be considered major for people who use Illustrial, she has her love confession now, once you raise her heart bond to level 10. So just another addition there. Next. Oh, what is this? A shining pack, whatever, ignore. So the next thing is going to be in the Secret Realm store. Here, there are 2 new items now. The Nightmare Cask. I have no idea how to pronounce that. That was my best attempt at it. This is a exclusive helmet for Thicc, where when battling units you have a class priority over, attack increases by 10%. I think this is garbage, in truth, because Thicc changes her class to the enemy that she's attacking pretty much, right? That's what her talent does. So it's not easy to get that effect to trigger. I guess unless maybe you attack a certain target, transform, then choose to attack the target that you have the class advantage over. That's the only way to trigger it. It just seems like a very, very awkward exclusive to me. Yeah. Plus, it looks ugly. All those eyes on the helmet. Yuck. So I think this is very much a hard pass for an item. So, in any case though, other than that, there is the Scarlet Embrace exclusive. And this is an exclusive for Zerida. After taking action, if there are no friendly units within a 2-block radius, you restore 20% hit points and dispel 1 debuff. It's not bad, right? The big problem here is whether this item can be considered better than a King's Crown. Right. King's Crown can grant an adjacent ally 20% extra damage. So that is very much a tough choice. You know, I'm going to hold off on this one, personally speaking. I feel like, although the healing and debuff removal is nice, I kind of feel like my priority is to buff up damage in general, and I prefer the King's Crown for that at this time. So I'm not going to transition over to her exclusive at this point. We'll see. Okay, next then is there is now a recap feature that has 2 parts to it. The recap feature is located on the main page, the story button that it now appears on the bottom right. The first part is Yggdrasil's memories. This part is linked to the new chapter missions, which are in Yeles. Once you unlock it, this is basically, it allows you to, I think, replay the plot mission storylines and maybe replay the missions as well. So that's what this is for. And the second part is Event Revival. So the Event Revival allows you to go back to all the past events that have run, right? The Swimsuit Chapter, Epic Eatery, Season of Giving, Another Legend, Overlord Line, and 7-Note Curse, and play those story missions. So if you miss those events, you can at least play the story and see what they talk about and so on. I don't think you get the reward for playing these, but at least you can play through them. Interesting note is that some of the events are not here, right? For example, I don't see Freya's events, Lifany's events, Bozel's events, right? So there are some, but not all of them. Right? Even the Research Team Mania is not here, or the Christmas event for the matter. So it's not all of them, it's just some. Alright, so with those covered, the final thing to mention is this was in the patch notes, and 4 of the characters supposedly have their 3C skills unlocked, right? Their awakening and their awakening skills. So the 4 characters are Luna, Matthew, Rachel, and Geralt and Layla, right? So you can at least check their skills in the preview section by clicking on the Wind God Realm, for example. That is Luna's skill. I'm not going to go over them in detail because you can just read about them yourselves, right? But they're basically 3-point skills, and the first phase allows her to have increase her maximum skill points by 1, so that she can have 6 skill points, and the second phase unlocks the 3-cost skill, right? You can also check out the exclusive animations, like so. So that was Luna's. You can take a look at the other characters, like as I mentioned, Matthew has... Oh, interesting. Matthew's new skill and exclusive is not actually there. So maybe the patch notes are wrong. Same with Rachel. Very interesting. So the patch notes said one thing, but when we take a look, the skills are not actually shown. Just Luna's for now. But at least we know, I guess, who is coming up, at the very least. For the 3Cs anyways. So there we go. Other than that, let's talk about some of the other changes. So, The other changes include, first of all, once heroes are skinned, they actually now look different here on the hero list, as well as if they are your avatar. So that is why my Sonya now has her, her motorcycle suit skin applied. Similarly, if we take a look over here, you can see that Elwyn, his icon has changed to have his skin. Same with Luna, and same with Tieris, Listel, and so on. So it's a nice little addition. It makes, I guess, it makes looking at the characters more appealing if you have skins for them compared to before. Next, similar to this, it's an improvement. There is now this magnifying glass icon for your heroes in the hero list. If I click on it, you can remove the UI, so you just view the hero. Very nice addition in my opinion. Much needed. Because, well, for me personally, it makes it much easier to get screenshots of heroes with their skins. So I'm glad they put this in. I believe they also implemented this in the bonds section. So if I click on the hero, yes, I can also make the UI, the interface, disappear. So there you go. So it's much easier for me to get screenshots of heroes for thumbnails for my YouTube videos, at least. So it's a nice addition for me. But I'm very happy that Sonya now appears with her skin at the top left as well. Alright, so after this, there has been a slight improvement to the interface in the hero menu and the bond menu. Over here, sorry, in the bonds menu, right? We saw that the icons, I think, changed a bit here, right? So you can see the hearts now show the character levels. And in addition to that, if they have their heart bond unlocked, their confession scene unlocked, you can see the heart fills up, pretty much, right? So it's I guess a UI improvement that shows whose heart bond is basically complete at a glance. For example, I can tell that Imelda's heart bond is not complete because the purple section has not completely filled up yet. Or sorry, the pink section, not purple. Jeez. So nice UI improvement. Makes it easier to see who needs further bonding and who is basically already completed. And also so let's move on. Next, this is, I think, a minor improvement for people who have been playing as long as I have, but could be useful to people who have not been playing as long as I have. For the Angelica training ground, the training school, apparently for stages 60 and 65, the drop rates of items has been increased, so you get more training items for them. And of course, we see here that there is now a level 65 Angelica training ground. So they've increased the level of it, so I'm going to have to unlock the special realm training for it. So, but yeah. But I will wait until tomorrow to do that. And the final change that was mentioned in the patch notes is for Guild Wars. For Guild Wars, it is now possible for one of these battles to be Gizarov's Mythical Realm faction. So, Gizarov's faction only has one faction buff, which is Gizarov himself. So it may be annoying for some of the newer players, but keep that in mind. The interesting thing is, this faction has a pretty wide mix of characters, right? There's two tanks, Bernhard and Juggler, right? Zerda, Bozo, dark characters, right? Lambda, Rainforce, Yulia, Young Jessica, Sophia, Jessica, and Almeda round up the faction. It's interesting because there's very, very few physical attackers in this faction, right? Bernhard is a physical attacker, Zerda is a physical attacker, Rainforce is a physical attacker, and I think that's pretty much it. Lots of healers though, and there's mages, and Yulia is an in-space attacker, so I don't consider her a physical attacker. So interesting that it can now show up as a potential guild war. Last but not least, there are some bug fixes which were also mentioned in the patch notes. So, for bug fixes, first of all, one that is incredibly useful in my opinion is that special effects no longer kick in when your characters damage themselves. What this means is there's two very clear examples of this occurring. The first one is, let's say in Goddess Trial, when you're facing against the level 70 Thunder Dragon. The Thunder Dragon applies a debuff where your characters will do damage themselves. If you had, for example, Bernhard bringing Rupture, right? He would do AoE damage, and the Rupture effect would kick in against all your characters who got damaged, including Bernhard to himself, right? So that will no longer be the case. The second example of these kind of effects kicking in where they're damaging themselves and debuffing and so on is Bozal. Very often in Timeless Trial, there is a time law where your character deals damage to characters in the 1 AoE radius around themselves, including themselves, right? There was that time law. So whenever Bozal, for example, launched an attack, he would then self-damage, and the self-damage would apply his talent where he would debuff himself and any characters in range of him for that self-damage effect. So no longer will they do that. They'll hurt themselves, but they won't kick in the Rupture or Talent and so on. So that simplifies battles quite a bit. I'm just glad it's in. It definitely was a bug. The second change and improvement is also to Timeless Trial. It's to the SSS Final Trial. Previously, the enemies were immune to all fixed damage. Now, they are immune to only percentage-based fixed damage. So what that means is Ragnarok works, Rupture works, all those fixed damage that have a set amount of damage now kick in properly. It's just percentage-based fixed damage which would be, let's say, Lava Titans. It would be, I think Blood Dance would work too now as well, right? I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm going to try that next week because Blood Dance is half her hit points, but it's a fixed rate of damage. So we'll see. It's a good improvement. I'm glad they put it in. Yeah. So. Alright. Another bug fix is to Rainforce, who I don't have. Rainforce, though, was known to be able to displace characters who cannot be displaced. Right? We saw that with the Challenge 5 in the Research Team Mania event, where there were various clears of people clearing the Research Team Mania event using Rainforce by shifting his position. You can no longer have Rainforce do that. So, previously, Rainforce could shift characters like Ancient Peckening bosses, Eternal Temple bosses, right? And Thunder Dragons, dragons in general, who were all supposed to be unshiftable, but now now they are properly unshiftable. Okay. Another fix is for people who use Sigma. Sigma's extreme range attack, with his talent and with the strong wind snipe, allowed him to attack at really, really far ranges. And previously, Lancers and Cavalry were not attacking properly with that. So they were not participating properly with extreme range attacks. That has been fixed. It has also supposedly been fixed with Yusuke's Spirit Gun attack, but Yusuke isn't even in the game yet. Another minor patch update is to the Goblin Knights, who supposedly had their, Earth Elf Knights, as they called it here. Their description was supposedly improved. I don't know. It still does the exact same thing. Soldier crit chance increase, and upon landing a crit hit, steals 1 buff from the enemies and applies 1 strong debuff. They just made the explanation of the skill clearer with, I guess, soldier crit chance instead of just a general crit chance increase. Another minor patch fix is that supposedly all the Martyr classes have had an int increase. Okay. So who has Martyr classes? I think, for example, Hein does. Yep, Hein has a martyr class, for example. Sophia has a martyr class. And off the top of my head, I think Chris has a martyr class as well. Off the top of my head, I can't remember every single hero who has the martyr class, but all of them supposedly have had an int increase, a slight one. Oh no, never mind on Chris. Chris has a princess class. In any case though, the increase in int is slight, and for sure the int of holy classes will still be lower than mage classes in general, of course, but I guess it's a nice slight adjustment to make them more usable. And the final fix, which is a bug fix, is apparently to the gargoyle jacket. Right? The gargoyle jacket apparently had a hidden effect, or I suppose a hidden bug, where when attacked, it didn't only increase defense, it also increased attack value. So that bug has been removed. The gargoyle jackets now purely only increase defense. So basically, I mean, in the first place, gargoyle jacket is not considered a good piece of gear in general. Like, for every character who can equip it, you'd be better off giving them last rites if you have a copy rather than gargoyle jacket. But now there's, I guess ultimately what you can say is there's now even less reason to use a gargoyle jacket in general. And there we have it. That is all the changes that have been mentioned so far for the January 16th update. Are there more hidden updates to this patch? Very possibly. I have not really explored this patch in detail yet, so I can't really confirm that is the case. But there we go. Oh, actually, there is one final thing I should mention, and that is that there is now a fight again button for when you finish up with battles in the Secret Realm. So what it looks like is the following. I'll just bring up a quick screenshot as an example. Totally forgot to mention this, my apologies. It's like this. So when you finish a battle, at the end, in the bottom left, there is now a fight again button. So it certainly helps improve your ability to just keep grinding through these battles, pretty much. So that is the final thing that I wanted to say. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this video useful. And on that note, Nitro out.